Recently, I did an experiment for aesthetics and cellular health as well as my brain, and that is I tried psilocybin. Now, this may not be the first time that I have tried psilocybin, and this is actually, it's not. I've been doing this protocol for a little bit now. I think I'm on my coming up on my fourth phase of it. But so there was a new, so what inspired this? Why would I do something like this? How the heck can, and first of all, what the heck is psilocybin? Well, it's the compound that is active in magic mushrooms. And so then you might ask, why the heck would you do that for aesthetics, JB? Like drugs that are for fun or for spiritual purposes typically don't do anything about your looks, right? Do you just smile more now? Maybe you'll have more wrinkles. And that may be true, but in this case, what prompted this is there was a recent mouse study that came out earlier this year. It's very recent, that showed that psilocybin actually extended cell lifespan by over 50 some percent in multiple different types of cells, in two different types of cells. One of them were fibroblasts, which are involved in skin cells. And two, they did a second experiment where they tested it in mice. And interestingly, the mice were old mice and they started it. And the mice actually had some hair loss. They had some graying of hair and their hair didn't look so good. The mice looked old, as mice typically do when they get old, just like people. And so they actually found that the hair loss reversed in the mice to a large degree. You can see the pictures if you look up the study. And then also the gray hairs reversed as well, which are some hints at increased cellular health. And now this is a lifespan study and a cell culture experiment where the cell lived longer, but these are indicators, things that typically align with longevity or increased lifespan. We're all aging to some point. Even if you're a teenager, you're not as cellularly optimized as you were when you were a baby, when you first popped out. We lose certain capacity over time. So anything you can do to push things into more of a regenerative state and away from an inflammatory age state is going to help you with your performance as well, potentially. So that's what got me interested. And so interestingly, their telomeres got longer. I think their memory, if I remember correctly, may have gotten better. Their cognitive performance got better, which has also been shown in human evidence. There is a lot of evidence around potential brain increased abilities with psilocybin, as well as potentially some other psychedelics that act on similar receptors. There's a specific receptor called the 5-HTA2A receptor, which is like a type of serotonin receptor that these act on, and that is thought to mediate a lot of these benefits. They're not only in the brain, but we found that they're actually throughout the body. So that's what got researchers curious to think, well, maybe these actually might have benefits throughout the body, systemically, potentially in an aging perspective, which telomeres are something that shorten with age. They're like on the end of, they protect basically your DNA and they shorten over time. So this was actually shown to actually extend those, so your cell lifespan extends. And also that's an indicator that the cell's ability to regenerate and repair is better. So that's going to help things like stem cell function, your hair growth, your skin, your complexion potentially. And I'm not saying that this does this. Don't take this as I'm saying that this works in humans, you should try this. Absolutely not. This is not recommendation at all. I'm just telling you about my experience and why I thought I might try this. Also, the increased neuroplasticity and ability to reopen neuroplasticity as an adult that you typically lose, that you have as a kid. It's able to rewind that neuroplasticity and reopen it, not just while you're on the trip, but I'll get to this. Might as well go there now with all of these benefits. These are things that in these studies, when they treated the mice, this wasn't something they, obviously it's not practical that you're going to do psilocybin every day while you're out. It's not like a daily drug you would take, right? You got to function. And if you're hallucinating or having a spiritual experience, you're not likely going to be able to get your work done. So what's interesting is they only did this every month, I believe it was, in the mice. And think about it, mice live 2 or 3 years. So equivalent in a human may very well be on a yearly or multi-year basis. So it was infrequent, but it was enough to upregulate all these pathways. So what did it do? It increased antioxidant capacity in the body. It upregulated a lot of beneficial antioxidant systems in our body. A lot of people take things like vitamin C, vitamin E, astaxanthin, vitamin, just lots of different antioxidants, right, for benefits. Glutathione, people would do injections sometimes. But this actually, we have antioxidant systems in our body that keep us functioning well on a cellular level. And so this was able to upregulate those systems like superoxide dismutase. That's a long word, and that is one of our internal antioxidants within our mitochondria, which are the power plants of the cell, the energy producing parts of our body, or organelles and cells, if you will. And so through that's and then it decreased inflammation in the body, which is inflammation contributes to skin redness, or it's involved in the immune system dysregulation that can, and also things like hair loss. There is a component of inflammatory hair loss, and also muscle regeneration. If your baseline levels of inflammation levels are tamped down, when you go and train and you get an inflammatory response in your muscle, if your overall levels are low, your immune system and your body is going to be calibrated to be very sensitive to that inflammation when you trigger it on purpose for the purpose of muscle regeneration. So in theory, it could potentially help recovery. So these are all things I was thinking about. I could go on a lot about this and nerd out all day, but these videos probably aren't going to do well if I try to talk about this for like an hour. So I'm going to keep it short. But you can get an idea of there's a lot of exciting pathways. Potentially might make you live longer. And it did the mice, it did extend their lifespan, it extends cellular lifespan. Potential delaying of gray hair. I don't have any gray hair, but I don't want any gray hair later. So potentially it might delay that. Hair loss. I like having thick hair. Kind of kill my Tarzan vibe if I lost all my hair. So it's a potential possibly there. These are the things I'm thinking about of why I did it. And now this is not proven out in humans at all. And these are illegal in a lot of places. So I'm definitely not advising anyone to try this. This is potentially risky. There's chances that it could increase your cancer risk if you did this lifelong. But my protocol is monthly. I do this. I can't really go into dosages and stuff on here. I'm still learning what I can and can't say on YouTube. So I don't want to get canceled. So anyways, the dose in mice was the equivalent of, I think, about 25 milligrams in humans. That is what they did in this study for the lifespan. So do with that what you will, but this is not at all advice on what to do. If you ever were to consider this, there are some human potential benefits, especially for cognitive health and mental health that are being studied and that are being available potentially legally. So if you ever think about doing it, be sure to talk to your doc. But very interesting stuff. I'm researching this and I'm combining this potentially with things like oxytocin, which I'll talk about in another video later. Definitely subscribe if you want to hear about oxytocin. There's a lot of cool cellular health benefits there, and potentially really cool interactions between psilocybin and oxytocin and its ability to reprogram your baseline kind of connectedness nervous system state. And then on a rejuvenative level, oxytocin has benefits for cellular health, like I said as well. Get into that later. But super interesting. I believe Brian Johnson now, actually I know he just tried it as well in his protocol. I've already done a few rounds, but I was really excited to see that he jumped on this and his team thought the study was interesting as well. Really cool to follow. He's very rigorous about tracking things. Check out his stuff and his experiment as well if you found this video interesting. I don't know if he's posted a video, but I imagine he will soon. And then also there are a couple interviews. I believe there's an interview on YouTube with the psilocybin researcher. If you type in psilocybin longevity trial or something, you will find some information. So be sure to subscribe if you found this interesting, share it with a friend, and we'll keep this Tarzan Aesthetics Lab chats going.